Welcome to the country, where we're doing country things, and today we're going to be doing an update video on one of our whitetail breeder bucks here on our deer farm in western Oklahoma. We're going to start off in the house. We're going to give you a look at his yearling set of antlers and his 2-year-old set, compare with those two and show you how much he gained from year 1 to year 2. Then we're going to go out in the pen and take a look at him out there. It's been about 30 days or so since he shed those antlers, so I want to get his documentation down for the year so we can start monitoring his growth and seeing what he's doing. So let me get this camera set up and I'll be right back. So we'll start off here looking at his yearling set on the right side. And down here on the base, he does have a little point that he wanted to put on down here real close to the base. A single brow tine here. The G2 has a little bit of a kicker coming off of it on the back. The G3, G4 here, you really can't call that a G4. He tried to put a point there, just kind of ran out of time. So we're going to call him a 4-point on this side this year. Just kind of the typical mass you might find on a yearling buck. So year 2, he gained quite a bit. Actually, he still has that same little point here on the base down by the pedicle. Still has a single brow. G2 here, he actually put 3 points on the end. The G3, get it spun around here for you guys. Quite a bit longer and wider, so it's bladed out pretty good. There's the G4. So it makes him a 5-point here on this side, and here on the ends, he actually starts going, making a lot of mass going this direction instead of what you would think where it would turn up. So it almost looks like the antler wanted to like fall over, where it's growing more sideways than straight up and down. So it's kind of an odd deal there. But from year 1 to year 2, as far as on this side, he stayed pretty typical. But you know, like I said, he gained quite a bit as far as beam length and mass goes. So here on the left side is where it kind of starts getting interesting with him. Still pretty typical here for the yearling set. Single brow tine, single G2, G3 actually splits here. He's got a little kicker off the back of the 3, G4, G5. So pretty much the same on the other side as a yearling. What I'll do is I'll cut the video here. I'll show you a picture of these antlers on his head before he shed the velvet, and then I'll be back. Okay guys, so here is the left side year 2, where he really starts going non-typical here. And if you start down here on the base, he has a point coming off right there. He has a drop tine coming off his main beam there. The brow tine, he has a split brow tine. He has a point coming off the main beam in front of that. He has 2 points coming off the main beam there. The G2, he split the G2 here. And then the G3, instead of coming off of the base and coming straight up, it comes off of the back side and goes back and out. And it also split. And if you start to look on the end of his main beam, he starts doing the same thing he did on the other side, where he starts to turn and it acts like it wants to fall over. If I can get the other side there and show you this direction as far as how they're turning. So on the ends, you can see how they're kind of starting to want to turn over and start getting wider the other direction. So it's kind of odd that he's doing that on both sides. He has this big drop tine here that actually broke off, and I glued it back on. He has a point coming off here. So there's a G4, which makes him a 5-point mainframe here with all these little kickers and drop tines. So, you know, he's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 or so on this side. So I think it has a lot to do with this pedicle on this side of his head. It's not really round. It's kind of an odd shape to it. If I can get the camera to focus on it here. It's got an odd shape to it. And when it's on his head, actually, so to be going this way, you could tell how this kind of goes quite a ways down on his head. And you'll notice that whenever I get pictures of him with it actually on his head this year when he's growing it, you'll see how that goes quite a ways down. So I don't really understand why he's going so non-typical on this side, other than that pedicle being odd shaped. It's just a genetic thing. It's not an injury. We've had him since he was a fawn, and you know, we haven't noticed any injuries or anything like that. So this is all genetic, what he's doing here. So I can tell you right now from looking at him out there, the left side out there right now is quite a bit bigger than what the right side is. So it's going to be the same way this year. It's going to be maybe even more pronounced. I'm not really sure. So what I'll do right here is I'll cut the video. I'll show you a picture of this set of antlers on his head right before he shed the velvet. And then we'll go out in the pen and we'll take a look at him out there. So give me a minute and I'll be right back. Okay guys, so I wanted to film inside the pen, but I don't know how well that's going to work. He's not the tamest deer that we have, so we may have a little bit of an issue getting close enough for you guys to actually see what's on top of his head. What I've got here is some bread, actually, that I'm going to try and feed to him and see how close I can get. We moved him to a different pen. He's in the north pen, and the north pen is actually a little bit narrower than the south pen. It's 40 feet versus 60 feet on the south pen, so a little bit smaller of a space to kind of confine him a little bit. Don't want to pressure him for sure and get him to hit the fence or something, but he's got a lot more shade in here. I don't know how long we'll keep him in this pen. We may keep him in here all summer. I don't know yet, but we'll just have to see. But looks like we're going to have to get outside the fence. So let's go ahead and get outside the fence and see if I can get him to come close enough to actually see what's going on with him right now. Just give me a minute and I'll be back. Okay guys, so he kind of realizes that something's a little bit different out here. Anytime I got the camera, he notices that it's not the kind of the regular routine, so he's a little bit leery. But you can see there, the left side is already quite a bit bigger than the right side. And we looked at that on the on the antlers themselves from last year, how much bigger that left side actually was and non-typical. And it's doing the same thing again this year. It's quite a bit larger. He's an inch or so outside of his head. He's not showing any sign of brow tines or doing anything like that yet. So I'll try to get him closer. Give me just a second and I'll try to get him some grass or throw something to him that maybe I can get him up here a little closer, then I'll be back. Okay guys, that's about as close as he's gonna come, it looks like. He's standing there right next to his son. The deer on the right is a son of him from last year, and he's got about 3/4 of an inch or an inch outside of his head as well. So he was the last one to shed his antlers last year, and he's the last one to shed his antlers this year. So he's quite a bit behind everybody else, especially Bo and Speck. They're 3 times what he is right now, but I think he'll catch up. You know, he was the last one to shed his antlers last year, and he was the last one to come out of velvet too. So he grows later in the season. He won't be 3 years old till the end of July. So the year he was born really late. Most deer are born in May or early in June, and he wasn't born till July the 26th. So he was a really late fawn that year. So he's still young yet. He won't be 3 years old till then. So that's just the way he is. Every deer's different. They shed their antlers at different times. They shed their velvet at different times. So it's really not how they start, but how they finish. And we expect him to really start coming on here pretty soon and outpacing these other deer. So we'll be back with you about a month from now to show you his progress. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.